I have a hard time getting past is, you know, your proposal is 15%, just like I threw it out there. Let's just say there's $10 million of proceeds in there. And I can't say in your agreement that it was clear that you're excluding debt, even though Susan Ford goes, oh yeah, I think that was the thing all around. I go, well, read the damn thing, and you tell me where it excludes it.
Third party non-inland debt.
Right.
I read it. That it was.
I don't think it's totally clear.
Proceeds, basically.
Cash.
Besides the point.
It's the cash proceeds on non-inland debt.
Right.
Or it should just be real specific. But anyway, let's just say it's $10 million. Okay, and what is it that you can show me that? So let's just say you go out and list all that stuff with realtors at a 6% commission. That's all you do. Do nothing else. Because you sit here and you go, my goal is the same as yours. Okay, but if I really let's shake that down, you could say, yeah, there's 10 million easy here. We don't have to do anything but list this with realtors. Okay, we get $900,000 of income into Obsidian. Pretty good job we're landing here. It's in our best interest to land this, and we don't even have to do that much. You know that motivation to get more doesn't. You know, we're gonna get this much no matter what. So tell me, what is it that you guys do that brings more than that much money to the creditors? Because if it doesn't, we're wasting our time.
And I assume the creditors would ask the same question.
Of course,
Right, and
It's like, if it's 10 million and your fees, if you did nothing, your fees would be 900, then you need to get 11 million out of it to make it worthwhile.
Right.
I guess is the gist of it, and
And
you don't know what you do.
The other question is, I got this paragraph here that, to me, this just opens up, the whole world for you, billing the bankruptcy estate. This paragraph right here. That's
I can't, because I can't see.
foreground. Well, you know what it is.
I don't know, it's just a paragraph.
Shall not limit LFG's rights to be paid from the sum of the estate for all matters not directly related to the assets, such as general services, tax-related services, including claims mitigation and claims distribution calculations. Further, all services not directly related to the collection of the assets, such as providing testimony, responding to subpoenas, other forms of discovery, participating in the request of the advisory committee, or any other group or subgroup of creditors and identification of third-party claims shall be at OFG standard hourly rates. The first question I have is, show me your budget for what you anticipate, because I can see this being a whole hell of a lot of money here, and that's like the gaping hole to me.
Before you get there, I think just get out about 4 different questions.
We'll hit the first.
Yeah, the big question is that's an issue, true, but if there's value added that outweighs that, then that becomes moot. If we're taking the approach that, let's say, we think there's 10 million of equity in the property, if you just listed it and wait and watch it sell, okay? The question that I would assume the creditors committee would ask you, and our interests with them are aligned on this, because I want them satisfied, because I don't want them trying to put my scalp on their lodgepole. What is it about what you guys do? How are you going to get more value? I mean, where's the juice?
We've never heard a thing about it.
We don't know.
We don't
We're
know.
back.
And all we know is you gave us a sales pitch. That's it. And you said things like, we can bring capital, we have all sorts of these partners and everything. We don't know a thing about what you bring to the table. I mean, it's just an honest question. We're really concerned.
I can tell you, start with an open mind. Okay, so look, the way that you own these entities, the way that you get to the bottom to the actual assets, right, is through a variety of entities. Sometimes multiple layers.
There's hardly any multiple layers. I mean, VSN owns some properties that are in LLCs, and that's it. If you're making it more complicated than that, it's not.
Look, on this point, the information that we were provided was not completely accurate. Okay? Things that you thought you owned in a certain format, as we go through the documents, you don't own exactly in that format. Okay? You own it in a different format, or there's a different agreement that controls those things. So the first thing that we have to do is to drill down on each of these entities to see who in fact has the actual control over the underlying assets and what role, if any, the non-principal third-party investor members have. Okay? You have to do that. That's not as simple as listing the properties. The other thing is that if you were listing the properties for 6%, that realtor is being paid on the entirety of the property. They don't say, oh, well, by the way, you got a mortgage on that? Oh, well, that's no problem. I won't charge 6% on your mortgage. Oh, you got a principal, you got somebody else that has an interest in that? Oh, well, I don't charge 6% on that either. I mean, we've got to be realistic. I mean, if you wanted to say, hey guys, you know what? Let's just take the gross amount here, and you guys can have X% of the gross amount. That's fine. We proposed that to the creditors committee. Said that's fine. We're willing to do it that way. We thought it'd be better, and frankly they did too, to completely align our interests. Hey guys, if you only get what pays the mortgage, guess what you got out of that property? Squat. The realtor would say, thank you for my 6%. Glad to pay your mortgage for you.
So
Okay?
why would you waste your time with those properties? I mean, there's properties out there that have no value, nothing.
We're not going to waste our time. The point is it doesn't make any difference if a piece of property has $50,000 of value and it has a $2 million mortgage on it. We'll go realize the $50,000. My point is that you still got to take the fact that it's 15% of the net that either gets paid to inland or gets paid through the principals back in. Either way, that's what we're taking 15% of. We're not taking 15% of the gross.
Okay, my question is, why would you waste your time on property that
I'm not
is
saying we would.
zero?
Mark, I'm not saying we would. I don't know. You're asking me. I can't tell you today which properties we would and which properties we wouldn't spend the time on. If we think that there is value in a piece of property, if we have a strategy to derive value from a piece of property, we'll spend the time on it. And you know what? It doesn't cost you a penny.
Okay, here's, and just tell you one of my concerns is we have all these third parties that really have nothing to do with us. We have third parties that have loans for 100% on this piece of property that are out there that are upside down. They're trying to save their credit record, making the payments and everything. And one of my concerns is, okay, just blanket transfer this property, make it as difficult for them to try to move on. I thought one of the things you were going to do is make an assessment of these properties and go, these things just, you know, these properties are garbage, because there's some of them in there that are just garbage.
I'm sure there are.
And so that was what is your plan for those? I mean, transfer them in there and make these other people go through hell?
Can I answer the question?
Yeah, go ahead.
You got to give me a chance.
I am. I'm just trying to get the question out because I've been asking these questions and I just don't get any response. Well, give us some information. It's like, you know, with Obsidian, I thought you were assessing the properties. I thought you already would have known that. You had a list of, these aren't worth spending any time on. These are the guys that have some.
We could have had our way. We would be well into this process.
So you have that list.
But the point. Let me go back to just an underlying point that you made, and put it on the table because it's definitely going to get looked at. The creditors want us to look at all the third-party interests. They want to know, are those, you know, legitimate? Did they put their money in? Where did they get their money? You know, are they legitimate third-party interests? So they'll want us to do that. We'll have to go back to them and say, this is a legitimate third-party interest. Don't see any excess value in there. Here's how we should deal with it. That's what they want us to do. I know that you know it, okay? And you perceive it and you know it, but they don't.